Check it out. This is actually off a client's property. They wanted us to remove a blue spruce, and we said, sure, 'tis the season. We don't have many ornaments yet, but gosh, it's over 16 feet tall. And the one ornament we do have, I'm hoping that we get a brand new Vermeer AX17. We heard it's down in Tacoma, and it's just getting shipped up here, so can't wait.
Time now for local weather.
Right now, it's still kind of chilly out there. Low coastal clouds will be rolling in later tomorrow afternoon.
Yep, which has all been removed.
So what's this all about?
What is this?
Well, it's an ordinance just notifying that we're doing tree work that's compliant with code, but it needs to go out 3 days in advance.
So 3 days in advance, our office prints this out, and then we go and post this at the tree property where we'll be doing the work. And it's actually been really amazing because it lets the neighbors know that there's actually minor or major pruning or tree work about to happen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ryleigh Hartung. I'm a climber at Seattle Tree Care. This is near our yard over in Magnolia, and this is the crew lead for today, Chase. We're about to head to an Austrian pine job, big, exceptional Austrian pine. He gets to climb on it.
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite.
Do you enjoy climbing sketchy trees, Chase?
Yes.
We just got breakfast. I don't feel bad about it at all. Crew lead Chase. Exceptional Austrian pine in West Seattle.
Oh, I thought you were calling me an exceptional Austrian. We're professionals.
We're professional. We are professionals. We're professionals. So Chase,
Hold on.
tell us a little bit about. Oh, he's got to get the Z1.
Bro.
Is it Z71 rated?
Z133.
Is it Z133 rated? Okay.
Yeah, bro. These are legit.
Those are
sunglasses.
Z133 rated sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
From Pit Viper. Chase carries at least 3 pairs of Pit Vipers on him at all times.
You gotta be ready.
He's got to be ready.
It's a safety thing, you know.
It's a safety thing, and Chase is very concerned about safety, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah. It's a dangerous job. Very dangerous job.
Very dangerous.
You gotta do it carefully.
So what's your favorite part about working at Seattle Tree Care?
My favorite part. Could I have like multiple answers?
Yes, you can.
Multiple favorites?
You can have a lot of favorite parts.
I mean, climbing trees. I get paid to climb trees.
That's pretty cool.
It's super cool. I feel like you get to understand and appreciate the trees just a little bit more once you're like up in them. You're gonna get like a bird's eye view of everything. Kind of changes. So that's one of my favorite things about work, just climbing in the trees. And the other is like we have such a cool crew / like company. We have like our own locker room, and you know, when everybody's in the locker room, it feels like we're like a professional team. You know, like we're like a sports team or something. I don't know. It's fun. It's like you're working with your friends, and it's really important too because you have to be able to trust everybody that you work with, and respect everybody because, like I said, it's a dangerous job. So,
What's one piece of advice you would give to future tree climbers?
don't stop learning off the clock. I would say if you really are passionate about it, you should be doing your own research at home and trying to read about stuff, trying to learn as much as you can, as quickly as you can. I think that helps. Space Needle, let's go.
We're 11 minutes away from the project. I just missed like 5 or 6 good film opportunities because I was eating my burrito.
So we're here today in West Seattle. We're doing a bunch of pruning and small removal. So we have this big Austrian pine behind us kind of looming over the house. So the only thing we're doing that today is kind of bringing back some of those branches that are kind of like really close to the house, kind of overhanging the house. You know, stuff gets in the gutters, and there's actually a couple branches that are only like a foot or a couple inches away from the roof line. So we don't want anything touching, and we don't want, you know, squirrels and raccoons jumping on the roof. So we're bringing that back. Then we're gonna prune this magnolia kind of right here in front of us. We're gonna be really gentle with it. You know, the previous people that pruned this kind of took the top down quite a bit to kind of keep it out of the wires, and I think we're gonna do something pretty similar. We're not gonna really do too much on the inside of the canopy. It's been cleaned out pretty well. There's not any dead in it, so it's really just gonna be about controlling the shape and the size of that to keep it away from the wires. And then we have a walnut in the back that we're gonna be pruning to reduce branches falling on their property. There's a trampoline back there and like a children's play area that we're gonna be kind of pruning for safety back there. And then there's a hedge that we're gonna be hedging and kind of cleaning up on the side of the house, and that's just for privacy, so it'll be important to just kind of be a light touch on that and kind of just make it look nice and sharp and clean. And I think that's it. We have a big track lift we're gonna set up for the pine, so that'll help me get up there, kind of get over the roof without having to actually climb the tree. Makes my life a lot easier. Now there's a new climber here. He's climber in training that I'm going to be working with to kind of walk him through some of the steps on some of his first trees he's going to be climbing. And then I have another climber who's worked his way up through some of the ranks and now is like a full-fledged climber and is trying to do a removal back there. So it'll be fun to kind of watch him and see how he's progressed, because he's been learning really fast. He's learning a lot, so boom.
Okay, let's go over the JSA just real quick. All right, nearest trauma center. Harbor view. Weather conditions, it's cold. Technical rigging. We have pruning, tree removal, tracked lift operation, wood chipping, hedging, pole pruner use, chainsaw use, possibly ladder use. They're doing a lot. We got hazards, let's see. We got working aloft, falling from heights, chainsaw injuries, back injuries, tree or tree part failure, struck bys. Everybody's got their helmets today, right? Cool. Falling objects, electrical closer than 10 feet. We have slips, trips, and falls. We noticed those steps in the back are really slippery. All right, controls. We got proper work positioning. That's gonna be important. Two-handed chainsaw operation. All right, we have the emergency action plan overview, the haul route, the drop zone. Nice.
Sounds like we got a full day.
Yeah. So, fine. We're just getting a look from the other side and see what the branches look like from different angles.
Good. Ooh, this is a cool backyard. All right. Oh wow, yeah, that is definitely climbable. Yeah, so this will take a while. Man, this really does look like a tree of heaven. It looks like a mimosa or something.
Yeah.
The cherry is the removal. Yeah, so I'm glad we got 3 climbers here because there's a lot to do. That's a pretty tricky removal. It's got a lean. We got some old pruning cuts on it. Got some rot. I mean, cherries are pretty tough. It's kind of tricky. We got this brand new fence underneath.
Dibs on the removal.
Okay. Yeah, you want to do the removal?
Yeah, he already claimed this.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna do the walnut. Okay. You'll do the walnut. You'll do the removal. I'll do the pine. That sounds good. And then Ricky, you can practice on the magnolia and get some more pruning techniques down.
All right.
Yeah, this is pretty sensitive. Yeah. There's definitely like a good kind of central lead where you can get a nice tight tine and kind of just work around the tree.
Yeah. I get to untangle this. Oh, it's not too bad. There it is. Just one little bundle like this can ruin your whole morning. But we're not gonna let it, because we're gonna be very precise, careful, and get her done. And there it is. A completely detangled throw line. Ah, so close.
We're more brawn than brain.
That's usually how
That
it
was
is.
me yesterday. I was like, at the end, I was just powering through.
Oh, right in my fucking crotch. Dude, I got it almost exactly where I wanted it to go. I just got to break that little branch off.
And being on the other side of this, I don't see any other wounds or anything.
Once you start spurring into it, if it feels solid on the spurs, it's probably solid. Like once it starts to get mushy and like your spurs sink in, that's when you can like start to get really nervous.
Okay.
But you're doing a good job like just inspecting everything, and like I mean it doesn't look like there's any roots bulging, and there's
That's
like
what I was
no root plate showing, and you know that's the only injury in it. I think it's okay. Yeah. We'll work on setting up the lift. I mean, this thing is super sweet. Like it definitely makes my job a lot easier if I don't have to climb, you know. It definitely saves me a lot of work. It's not as like sturdy as our T-Rex buckets. You have to be a lot more careful with it. You know, all like the machinery and the sensors and stuff are just exposed. So it's just, you just have to be really careful. You know, and it's not insulated at all, so you have to be double careful around power lines. Like the T-Rex buckets, at least the ones we have, are partially insulated, so you can kind of work around that a little bit better. But yeah, this stuff's not insulated at all. Okay, so we got power switches, we got all our controls here. Excuse me. We got our master power switch over here. Turn that on. Let's see, we got some lights turning on yet? Nope. There we go. There's a lot of safety. So there's like 3 of these emergency stop buttons all over, and they stay pressed. And if you don't unpress them, then you're like, I don't know why it's not starting. There's like 5 different on switches, and they all have to work together to actually turn it on. You've got this big telescoping boom, and you got chains and sensors and hydraulic presses and stuff that are exposed. So like if you're not careful kind of moving through the tree, you can snag it on stuff. And then I'm gonna get this boom up. That should be enough to get it off. Go back into transport mode. Go forward a little bit. Gotta get the balance on the trailer shifted. There we go. And now this thing's a hybrid, so it's been on battery power, so now I'm gonna get the diesel engine warmed up. check on these guys real quick. Nice, I got the cherry pruned up a little bit. Riley's got his rope installed.
Glad that you're back here.
Yeah.
I did have a question about this.
Yeah.
I was having problems with it yesterday. So,
Is it the VT you're having trouble with?
no, I mean it's just a French prusik, but like it's not even the prusik that I'm having trouble with. It's, or is the bottom cross supposed to be facing me actually?
The what?
Bottom cross supposed to be facing me. So it's like 1 cross, 2 cross.
Yeah, as long as they're the same, as long as you're not like alternating which cross and what's not. So this one is on top, so this one should be on top. And you have four coils and a braid, 2 braids?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That prusik might not be quite long enough to do the, because that's the VT, the Voltitress, the French prusik.
Yeah.
Do you need another one?
It might not be quite long. Do you know how to tie the Michokan?
I learned it a while ago.
Yeah. Rich, do you know the Michokan?
So
that's
it's
what you
like-
climb on, right?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I know.
So I leave a little
The
bit.
one that Moy taught you?
That one's 5 coils, right?
Oh,
And then,
that's
like,
that's just a normal prusik. That might be the distal.
I think it's the distal, yeah.
Yeah, that might be the
So-
distal. That might be a good one for you to
Michokan
tie.
is like,
It's the same thing, you do coils
it's
and
like-
then there's an
it's-
overhand at the bottom.
5 coils, right?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't tie the Michokan, so maybe we should look it up. Let's do you have the working knots?
Wait, is that right?
That's the distal. That's what he's
Oh.
got tied. There's so many prusiks.
There's a lot of prusiks, yeah.
Because I always tied the VT. But I had a longer, thinner prusik, so it was a lot easier. Yeah, animated knots. Let's see.
But it's so good for you to me.
And Michokan
I
is really,
understand its benefits.
that's a lot of
very
friction.
good.
I don't even know how to spell that. I'm just gonna type in prusik. Michokan. Yeah, there's this looks like it's 3 coils and then a braid, and then it's an overhand.
3
My name is
coils.
John, and I'd like to show you how I tie a Michokan friction hitch and everything I know and love about this friction hitch.
Okay, here we go.
Mission one complete.
We're gonna do.
I'll start this one from left to right, and I will then demonstrate the opposite chirality on a different rope. Okay, so I'm going to start
If
by
you
passing
showed
this
me
around
one, I
5
could tell you which
times.
one.
You were right,
in
5.
upward fashion.
Upward.
So that's 1 turn,
Distinctive differences.
2
But
turns,
the hitch is
3
usually
turns,
around.
4 turns, 5 turns.
If I
Again,
remember
quickly, but
correctly.
you can
So,
pause that
like a
if you
girth
like
hitch?
and see what I've got. I'm going to drop that line down behind.
So then-
Drop the working end.
Pause it, yeah.
So this line's going down on
So-
this side. It's on this side. Straight down.
Straight down.
Yep. And then this one's coming out sideways.
Wait, what?
So it's like this. Hold on. Hold on. You hold the phone. So it looks like it's like this. So this is coming out sideways. Oh, we missed a
But
wrap, huh?
Chase might
No,
have
no,
I
it just
fucked it up.
undid.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
is just a sling.
So it's like that.
So this
Right.
is rated to.
Okay.
And
On
then
the standing end.
So that's.
And I pinch those together. I can stop and inspect it and see I have 5
It's
bars.
safe.
bing bong.
Turn that 360
Yep.
degrees and
Are
inspect.
also
I've got
rated
5
about the
bars.
same.
I now take
About
that
27.
working
So
end
this is just
and I
shy.
bring it up
This is
in
a 23
front of the
maybe.
climbing line,
But then you got
little
the steel,
slack
the steel
and
carabiner.
that bottom here, and bring that up through.
Yeah, undo
like
the.
And then
rustic hitch,
kinda
so
through
like
this bottom one.
technically-
Now, if you go to Blake's, you'd be bringing
Yeah.
this
Now
up.
I'm curious. I gotta ask.
There you go.
Chase.
So it's just a couple loops and then you go down and you go back through. Okay,
It's on
so
my rope,
Let me
but
try
that
this one
little
more time.
Yeah.
device, that-
It's like eyes are on the
yep,
left.
yep,
and then
perfect. And
That's
then
5 bars, and then so
yep, that goes in
through
front.
here.
Yep. Boom. And then yeah, it's just like tying an overhand knot essentially with the 2 bottoms. Yeah. How does that feel? You know, just kind of climb on that a little bit, like low, and kind of go up and down a few times and see how it like sets.
Okay, yeah.
And then you might have to adjust it a little bit. Yep.
So, do this guy.
Yep. Man, I'm glad you're here today. This is awesome.
Yeah, me too. This is definitely
Good practice.
crucial.
Just all about the repetitions. Just repeating it the right way. Yeah, this is a decent sized walnut. Man, is it a walnut or a fucking balsa? I can't tell.
I think
kind of.
it doesn't have the. Andrew was saying it doesn't have those purple flowers or
Yeah,
whatever, so
which
it's
is the.
that's tree of heaven.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Richie Rich. Where you going? He just disappeared into the ivy over there. Bing bong. Cinch her down. Beautiful.
Okay, and now this is where I had trouble.
Instead of attaching to the ring and to that, yeah, it's kind of like a pain to have all that stuff kind of jingling around.
Yeah.
So maybe if we go, let's see, we can kind of fool around with it a little bit and see, because that's when it's interacting, right?
Yeah, like even harder than like if this were on the bridge.
Yeah.
Right. It felt kind of wrong.
It is.
Right?
So I would say that this is okay. You know, if this was more narrow, like Sarah's got a spliced eye here,
yeah,
then there's no problem. There's no like interaction. But yeah, the knot can kind of interact with that a little bit.
Okay.
So what I've done is I've been using a pulley on this instead of a ring, and
okay.
So I can grab you my pulley, the same thing, and then we'll have it, instead of attached to the ring on your harness, we'll have it attached to the pulley. Like the pulley will be here, and then you'll have the holes out here. So you'll have one carabiner over here, and then one carabiner over here.
The hole is just like a divider or whatever?
Yeah, the hole. Okay. Then it's like sideways. Let's see if that'll work. I'll grab you another micro pulley. Nice. Closing sidewalks.
Yep.
Bump, bump.
Okay.
Bump, bump. Bump, bump.
Oh man, that sun feels good. It's crazy how low in the sky it is. Yeah. Summertime it's like right overhead, and wintertime it barely gets over the horizon. Okay, let's see how this works. I'm gonna put it in the bottom hole.
Bottom?
Yep. So that keeps the pulley a little closer. Mm-hmm. And then that also gives, so like if it's at the top, right, the pulley's kind of in the middle of the carabiner.
Sure.
So let's see how this looks. We're gonna go pulley here, and then we're gonna go to carabiner. You said you want this on the right?
Yeah.
And then we'll do this over here. So this will kind of keep them separated. Too. You'll be able to just pull slack up with that side, and it'll pull up. So that should work. And then that kind of keeps, you know, it's not a lot of space, but that extra inch does make kind of a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get a rope with a spliced eye, and you can really, it doesn't really matter. You don't even have to use a pulley. I've never used my ring on my harness because I just use a pulley now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think it's smoother. And with my climbing system, I have the same thing going on. I just tie a knot. I don't have a spliced eye, so I have the same problem where they're really close together. Like the prusik is kind of large, but I have the Rope Runner Pro, and it's like it sticks out even farther than the prusik does, so yeah, there's even less space.
Drop it a little bit. See that?
Yeah. Looks like one of those loops is out. Hey, just come down and we'll look at it. Good to assess this. The rope is also brand new, so it's super slick too.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's grabbing. Like.
Yeah, I mean, I have to adjust
yeah, see,
it to grab.
Now we're at 3 coils instead of 5, right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of started to unravel on itself. We're getting the form of the prusik. That's the thing about prusiks. You just got to be like setting them and resetting them kind of as you're climbing, just like making sure everything's doing what it's supposed to. Yeah. And that's the nice thing about knots, you know, if it doesn't look right, it's probably because it's not right.
Yeah.
So just gotta finagle
look right, it's probably not.
Yeah.
But it is a knot.
Yeah, that looks better.
Yeah. Feels better too.
Ooh. It's like you want to have enough friction so you don't slide down the rope, but you don't want too much friction where you can't pull the rope through. But that's also the cool thing about the prusiks, is that you can customize how much friction's in them. Anybody showed you how to tie a marlin spike or like a slip knot?
I know slip knot. I don't know marlin spike.
It's the same thing. It's a slip knot, but it's upside down.
There we go.
So that it tightens on it. Yeah. So when they pull up on it, it tightens on it.
Okay. I know that sheet bend.
Yep, that's a good one.
A bowline.
Yep, that's a good one. Those are like the best knots to know on the ground, because you can send tools up to people. You can attach things securely, and you can attach a rope to a rope. Okay, so that's back in. We'll pop these legs out, just so we can start just kind of see how big this thing is. further forward. That back leg, I didn't lock that in yet, so it might swing a little bit. Battery power is slow. Yeah, see. I think I've got it in a decent position. We're gonna see how the legs look when they come down. I might have to move the legs on the other side just because I'm pretty close to that wall. It's kind of hard to set up just because we got wires on one side and then this wall on the other, so just trying to get it as close to the tree and to the wall as I can, as far away from the wires as I can get it. It does look pretty cool when this thing's all set up because it lifts off the ground. Looks like a big spider. Ooh. So I'm kind of reading these lights on the dash to see. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so there's kind of a control panel. And there's some lights on it. And say like, the lights turn off. These outer lights turn off when I put pressure down on the legs. So now those both turn kind of back on. So now I'm trying to just balance. I'm trying to get everything just barely pressurized. And so now I can see, you know, all these interior lights are off, and now I just got to get a little bit more pressure on those front legs. There we go. So now that I've got all the legs down, I can start to try and level this thing, and it'll kind of come off the ground a little bit. And let's see, 1 and 4, 2 and 3, and then 1 and 2. Oh yeah, there we go. Just make sure everything's off the ground. Nothing's touching. Okay, this is looking level. We're gonna go bucket. So there's another switch here. So now that we've got all the legs down and everything's done transporting, we're gonna go back into lift operation. And so then now that gives us full control over the boom. Now it's ready to use. All right. Oh God, why the hell did it just shut off? We're in lift operation. It's not out of diesel. No battery. Oh, that's frustrating. Hey James, it's Chase. Hey, so I have the track lift and I think it just ran out of diesel. It just shut off on me. And I don't know if maybe the battery's dead too, because I can't even get the battery to turn on. Like I can't even get the lights to turn on anymore. All right, well, I'll call George, thanks. Hey George, bad news. I have the lift on job site and I think it just ran out of diesel. I'm not hearing the electric motor turning on, so I don't know what, maybe it just totally died. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like I used the diesel motor to get it off the trailer and get it in position, and then I just set it up now with battery power, and then I turned it back on to start going up, and as soon as I went up like a foot, the whole thing just shut down. So I was like, oh, it probably just, maybe I didn't press something, but everything's in the correct spot. It's just, I think it's just out of diesel. Yeah, I think the line is essentially at 0. Yeah, James is on lunch, so I said I'd call you. I'll try giving Marcus a call. Yeah, I'll try giving Marcus a call and see. All right, now 3rd phone call. Well, I guess the 4th phone call. Let's go, Marcus. Hey, Marcus. So I just called James, who's on lunch, and George, who's not at the yard. I have the track lift, and not only did I think it ran out of diesel, but I think the battery did. It turned off completely. None of the switches are pressed. I've double, triple checked to make sure none of the off switches are pressed and everything's on. And it's just not making any noises at all. It's not, the electric motor's not turning on. I can't even get, like, normally if it's running out of diesel, you can kind of get it to crank and kind of restart, but it's not even cranking. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. George was saying that it you know, it gets charged every night, so it was on the charger. He said the battery should be alive. Okay, thanks, Marcus. Oh man.
How you doing, Jay? Spider lift?
The spider lift is out of diesel.
Oh.
So Marcus is coming with some diesel.
So, asking an experienced climber, is there any easier way to balance on spurs in a situation like this? Because my weight wants to go over this way.
You just kind of have to place yourself
As best I can.
yeah, on the opposite side of where the weight, like where
There's
the
no tip or trick or like hidden secret I don't know about.
nope.
Okay.
Just kind of, I mean, there's a lot of different tips and tricks and stuff, but really it's just fighting where your balance is going. Placing your spurs as wide as you can so you have a wider base. You can do a wrap, like on your flip line. You can go around the tree and then back in. That kind of gives you some more friction. But yeah, just placing yourself like the opposite side of where the lean is. That's going to be the easiest spot.
All right.
To balance. It might be easy too. So you have that like upright right in front of you. So you have your one line's going kind of to the right and around that. So that might be kind of pulling you to the right more. So if you go up over that center one, that might be a more, no, the one your left hand's on. So if you have your climbing line or your flip line around that instead of around the branch going out that way.
Yeah, I got you.
That might be a better spot.
Yeah. A little bit of triangulation.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get better at, is figuring out where those triangles are and trying to make them equal. And just the placement of where your rope is can make a big difference. Ryleigh, so I don't know if you've noticed, but so you have your high tie-in point, right? Yeah. And you come down below that branch, that's your new tie-in point. So where that bend is in the rope, that's where your new tie-in point is. So if you were gonna come down onto this side, it would have been better for you to be on the left side of that branch.
How are you positioned right now?
How you're positioned right now, how your rope, your bridge is kind of wrapped around your body. If you flip your body around and have the rope lined up with where your bridge is at, and then you have like your flip line kind of same position but kind of to your left or to your right. So then instead of trying to have like your tie-in point behind you, it's better to have it like this, just a body position. So if you have your left foot where your right foot is and your right foot where your left foot is, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
You're trying to make triangles.
Way more difficult than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's a pretty technical tree. I mean, as soon as she said that there's like a bunch of small dead stuff in the upper canopy we're supposed to get, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a pain. Just one of those times where you know it's really sketchy, so you're at 100% focus. And you can kind of let out your line a little bit, so you can kind of lean back. You don't have to lean so far forward.
Well,
you want to lean back into it.
I mean, it's just a matter of like getting my line released enough, because like,
yeah,
if I just kind of start letting go, then I'll just fall forward.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. You want to try and lean back and kind of get the pressure off the front. Sometimes you can't get a great position, and sometimes you have to do the rope around the back, but it sucks when you do.
Yeah.
Because if you slip while your rope's like that, you know, it's gonna twist you,
yeah,
spin you around. I think the worst swing I took like a 10-foot swing, which wasn't a lot, but I wasn't facing the tree, so I didn't land on my feet. I landed on my shoulder. Yeah, that one didn't feel good. That's when I was like, yeah, you definitely want to be landing on your feet, otherwise you don't want to swing at all.
What I'm curious,
yeah,
what I just did with the last branch is I girth hitched it around
sure.
the branch here, and then just put a sling here and just let it drop and catch itself.
Yeah.
Would it be better to do that here with this branch, or would it be better to rig it?
Probably to rig.
Okay.
The smaller branches are fine to do that, like, you know, normal tops are fine. But you do gotta remember you had that little wound down there, so you're just trying not to shock load, you know?
Yeah.
And the cut and the catch is a good technique, but there's also some shock loading involved in that.
Yeah. And the reason I was comfortable doing it with this one is because I just kind of let it peel.
Yeah.
Until it folded over.
Yeah. And even that one's not very big, so that would have been totally, if you want to do that again, you can, or you can practice rigging it down if you want. You're doing good though, Ryleigh. That's a big tree.
It's big and it's like spread out. So scary.
Yeah, man. No, you're doing good though.
And I don't know how I'm gonna manage moving this pole around. I mean, would I just keep it on my saddle? Do you do that?
Yeah. Do you still have the scabbard up there?
No, I don't.
I usually, it's kind of a pain in the but if you can, there's like some loops on the back. I just clip the scabbard to the loop, and then when I'm done with the saw, I can kind of put the scabbard back on, and then yeah, I kind of carabine it to myself. You start on the right side and go to the left and then go up. Because if you do it on the right side, I mean, there's not a big difference, but if you do it on that other side, so it hangs on the right side of the tree,
yeah,
it's just, we'll be kind of fighting the tree a little bit to pull it this way. I mean, it's not a lot. Like in this situation, I don't think there would be a big difference, but on a different tree and like a bigger stem or something,
yeah,
you know, you'd want all the rigging system to kind of be lined up with where it's going.
So bringing it up back through this way, around, and then connect?
Yeah, and so it'll swing this way, and then it'll just kind of be hanging on this side of the fence. Yeah, it is a pain in the butt to climb with a freaking pole saw.
I guess the final questions for me is the technicality of the cut.
Yeah.
Do you want me to try to do anything fancy, or?
I think just a bottom cut and a top cut.
Okay.
I don't think, I mean, you could do a face cut to try and get it to swing this way more, but I think it's just gonna do that anyways.
Yeah.
And then, so let's see, where you got that around.
Yeah, so.
What's going on with your?
This branch here, just so it doesn't smack me in the face.
You can just.
But yeah, I have it wrapped
Boom.
through this crotch.
Okay. And you're gonna make your cut kind of where your elbow is, or?
Yeah, somewhere in this area.
Yeah. The closer you have it to your rigging point, the better, because then it doesn't free fall as much. Good. So you have your attached way out there. You got your rigging point kind of far there. So if you do your cut right in the middle, I think that would probably be best, just because if you cut it too far back, you want to cut it to your rigging point, but then you're gonna have a lot of drop.
Yeah.
Because you have it so attached so far away.
I shouldn't want to take too big of a piece considering where I'm at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm still kind of tied into this.
Yeah, I would say normally you'd want your tie, where you're tying the branch off, and your rigging point to be pretty close.
Okay.
So then that reduces the amount of shock load and drop. Do you have another strap and a carabiner?
Yeah.
So wherever you're gonna make your cut, right before, like if you have your cut here.
Are you talking like a redirect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if right before where you make your cut, you want your redirect to kind of be right before that. So instead of doing the natural crotch, it might be better just to do a rigging point like that.
Yeah.
Just because that rigging where you have it set is just so far back.
Okay.
That you're gonna have more of a shock load. You're doing good, Ryleigh.
Fuck, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, like.
Hey man, sometimes these trees like this where they're all spread out, it's a slow process to get from branch to branch.
It's like you're climbing 5 trees.
Yeah. You're having to go up and down and around. That's just part of the fun. You can come up with as much plan as you want on the ground, but once you get in the tree, usually stuff changes. Yeah, you know, you just recognize things in the tree that you didn't see on the ground. I'm coming, Marcus. Yeah, and then just cut between the, yep, perfect. And he's got the leather gloves on? Yeah. Cool. You want to try and let it slide through your hands and just stop it right before it hits the fence. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's empty, right? Did you look at it?
I did not. I just grabbed the cord. If it doesn't see, if it's not red, it's probably empty.
Oh, it's red.
That whole thing's red?
Yeah.
Then it has fuel.
I thought it's the little black line, I thought.
So, on the hard side.
Why isn't it starting then? Is it the battery dead then?
So.
Is that why it shut off?
So with this machine, yeah, so then, oh, it has plenty of fuel then. So, because, you know, this is the neck.
Yeah.
So like I said, you know, it only registers once it gets there. So that's quite a bit of fuel.
Yeah.
That it
Damn, I'm sorry, man. I thought it was out. Like I saw this black line down here. I thought that was.
No, yeah. So if this
color.
gauge doesn't have any red, well, because that's off-road diesel.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's red.
Okay.
Well, I can tell because right here, because the diesel, when you go to crank, you'll hear it like this will click, and this will turn over.
Yeah. But I had but the thing was that I was going up in the bucket, right? I had it just barely off the ground. And I got a foot off the ground and I had the motor going. And once I had the motor going, it shut off. The whole thing shut off on me. And I just couldn't get the lights to turn. And it's tough too because the sun's in the lights, so I kept thinking they were on, but they're not.
So one thing is like check all the stops.
Yep, I did that a couple times.
Okay, so
because there's one there, there's one on the controller, and there's one on the control panel there.
Huh.
I don't know, man. I couldn't even get the electric motor to turn on. It's supposed to automatically save a charge to start the motor. Like the battery won't die to the point where it won't start. This is where the batteries are.
The machine is able to turn on because it tells us you had all the outriggers not only down with pressure, but all the pins are locked. So you can see those lines.
Yep.
It says you have a green light for go.
Well, I couldn't even get the lights to turn on.
Those lights?
I don't think those are on.
Yeah, they're on. Like there's just no response.
No, not at all. That's why I started calling.
One thing I think is like make sure like a fuse didn't pop.
Yeah, maybe that was it. It was the fuse. And it's such a small little motor.
Yeah, the little 3-cylinder.
Yeah, it's so cute. 101 decibels. Yeah, I don't even know where the fuses are behind this.
I think so. Yeah.
Did something come loose? Wow, that looks complicated.
I've never opened this thing before.
Some serious computer action going on in here.
Yeah, this part scares me. Because normally when you flip this switch, you hear it. Like, primes of some sort.
Yeah. I was stumped. I'm stumped.
We hold this in the halfway spot.
Yeah.
Can you wiggle around? I'm not seeing any lights turn on. All the kill switches are out.
Yeah.
That's a bit heavier than I thought. Headache?
Ryleigh, you up for a suggestion?
Huh?
You up for a suggestion?
Sure.
So I see where you're trying to get to. It might be easier if you go that big crotch below you, if you're standing in that, facing your tie-in point, and then you try and climb up the back side of that limb where your feet are. That way you can kind of like pull again, because right now, like where you have it, if you slip, you're gonna twist and fall. But if you go down and have that weight against your climbing line and then climb up on that, everything will be lined up a little bit better. In that position, you got a nice triangle, right? Yep. You're kind of feeling balanced. But what I see is that the flip line, like if you lean forward this way, all the pressure on the flip line is just gonna fall and that thing will just go down.
Yeah, so get it right here.
Yep. And then you'll have a nice tight triangle. Yep. And if you lean too far forward, your flip line's gonna hold you right in that spot. Where you have your flip line right now, you're attached to your upper D's. You should try and attach your flip line to where those lower D's are.
Oh yeah.
Because you're gonna be in that position for a minute, kind of deadwood and stuff with the pole.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky switch, right? Because you have to disconnect your flip line and attach it in a different spot. But it's even more comfortable. And I have literally done nothing. You guys have been doing all the climbing right now, and I've just been helping you guys and then trying to help John, and now I'm trying to help Marcus. One thing is where you're gonna do your snap cut, you want the hinge to be perpendicular to where the weight is going. So
more like this.
Yeah, so yeah, like boom, boom.
Okay. So less this.
Because if you do it this way and this way, like the way.
Yeah, because I was like,
the weight's gonna push it.
The weight's going that way.
Yep, the weight will break it.
So
So you want
if
it.
at all possible, do it.
Yeah.
Almost parallel with the fence.
Yep. Parallel with the fence. I would try and think of it as perpendicular to where the weight is. You want it the exact opposite of where the weight is.
Yeah.
So that it's able to hold itself. What was it?
Somehow you trick. So this bucket didn't. So it's supposed to auto level as you go through.
Yeah.
And the bucket was tilted down like so.
I did notice that.
And so basically, it just threw it into crazy. It was like danger mode. And
how did you fix the level?
I basically had to pull down a bunch of relays at once with my fingers while adjusting the thing, raising it back up and forcing it through like a reset process.
I did notice that because this was level, but this was kind of angled down.
Yeah, so that's all it was.
So how did you fix that?
I called Mike.
Yeah.
That's the person I'm familiar with. Basically, I had to pull this off, and right in this corner, there's a bunch of relays. There's one relay that gives us a bunch of lights to let us know what's going on.
Okay.
And there's two relays where you have to like push two. It's like a breaker almost.
Okay.
It's a push-in type of system, and then that will allow me to slightly bypass stuff, and I was able to walk through.
Because it was just a safety that shut it off.
Yeah.